Hello and welcome to the Columbia Daily Tribune's Behind the Stripes football webcast. This is Tribune sports editor Joe Walljasper along with Tribune football beat writer Dave Matter. Dave, Missouri beats Kentucky 33-10 last week, and they did it through a pretty suffocating defense. The defense has been pretty good all year, and also by running the ball. Kendall Lawrence rushes 23 times for over 100 yards. Is there a formula there that could possibly work the rest of the season? If Missouri's going to win 6 games and get to a bowl, they're going to have to win at least one road game. Does what you did against Kentucky possibly, is there any blueprint there for winning future games?
I think it's worth trying because it's better than anything else they've tried this year. And I do think if you look at their 3 road games against Florida, Tennessee, and Texas A&M, I think there's some hope that it can work against Tennessee. If you just look at their season, they've had just as bad a season as Missouri. Their offense is more potent, so that I think that kind of makes it seem like they're a better team, but they're much worse defensively, and Missouri's pretty good defensively. But just the numbers, if you look at them among the rest of the SEC teams, they have the worst scoring defense in the league, the worst total defense, and they're second to last in rush defense. So you can definitely run on a team like Tennessee, and once that point of the season gets here, and they've got a coach who's really on the hot seat, and Derek Dooley, who knows how hard they're trying at that point. And it doesn't appear that they're really fighting too much for him right now. They did play South Carolina pretty close, but and they've had the offense to do that because they can score a lot of points and they have a pretty good passing game. But also on offense for Tennessee, they don't give up very many sacks, and that's kind of Missouri's strength up front. So if Missouri can go into that game, stick with what they did at Kentucky, play pretty good coverage, and run the ball, that's at least the blueprint to beat that team. Now, it's different to do on the road, and it's, they've got better athletes down there at Tennessee than Kentucky. But if there's one game where it could maybe work, I think that's it.
Now, Missouri defensively, I think, with maybe the exception, they didn't do great against South Carolina because they just kept giving up those one pass after another and didn't really rally the ball. So that was just not that great. They did have a goal line stand and came up from the takeaways. Alabama destroyed Missouri kind of the way Alabama's destroyed everybody. The rest of the games, I think their defense has played pretty well. So you almost get the feeling if Missouri can figure out a way to scratch out about 24 to 27 type points, they'd have a shot. Now, I think the question is, do they fully believe that this is the formula they need to win? Because when you watch the way they attack defenses, I'm not sure that everyone's on the same page. Are we a team that wants to play field position and et cetera, ball control? Because it doesn't really appear that way.
Yeah, you touched on this on your column Sunday. Out of necessity with the injuries and with the quarterback situation, they actually found their strength and what they do best. But I don't know if they have a healthy James Franklin or a healthier James Franklin, do they go away from that? Do they go away from the ball control approach that really worked and try to be more than what they are? So I think that's the real crux of their situation right now. It worked against Kentucky. Do they go into a game against like a Tennessee or a Florida or a Texas A&M and say, these teams are too talented to go with that approach? We've got to.
Florida might be.
Florida definitely, but they've got to try to be that explosive up-tempo offense. But they held onto the ball for a long time in the second half against Kentucky, and they ran the clock down, and they kept it pretty simple with the runs. That should be something that could give some trouble to a team like Tennessee.
Part of the problem is something that has been the complete opposite of what we thought was going to be before the season is their receivers have played terrible, I think. I mean, they have dropped a lot of passes, and they're not helping anybody out the way that they've been playing because Bergstresser, first pass of the game, he's got about a 20-yard gainer to Marcus Lucas, just dropped right in his hands. There's been a lot of drops. And so I think when you look at reasons why they're not throwing the ball, there's been a lot of time spent talking about the offensive line and the struggles at quarterback. I think the receivers really have to bear quite a bit of the burden for the way this thing has turned out.
They have, and I don't know the explanation for that. It's always a well-coached group with Andy Hill. I mean, this is a group that we thought was going to be really deep, maybe the deepest they've ever had. And it seems like, those guys like Lucas and TJ Moe and LaDainian Washington, they go through such long stretches where they can make some plays because of just the way the offense is going. They just can't get warmed up. And in the past, Moe would catch 10 passes a game. Mm-hmm. They throw to him maybe 11 or 12 times, and he would just stay in rhythm. Now, when you're only getting one ball every 3 possessions or so, it's just the focus isn't there or something. I don't know. It's just unusual, and that is one of the bigger surprises for this team this year.
All right. Well, tune in next week. We'll discuss how the game at Florida went and discuss the upcoming game against Tennessee.